all of it.
There's a sort of a weird symbiotic relationship, I think, between producers and stars in television. Producers think they do all the work and the stars get all the credit, and stars think that shows would never work without them. How did that work with you? I mean, did you spend a lot of your time managing stars' egos?
No. Other people were doing that by now. I was too busy. But I think there's right on both sides. Some actors and actresses are very temperamental, as we all know, and it's very hard to deal with them. And we have had one or two in shows where I've actually said, one man particularly, get rid of him. Because he was impetuous. There was nobody in the world but him. He was an okay actor, but he really wasn't a star. And so eventually we did what we do in serials. He had a heart attack and died on camera. That's the way to get rid of it. Or we had a thing on Neighbours that if we lost a character, we didn't want to kill them in case we wanted to bring them back. And they went to some fictional place in Queensland. They'd moved, right? And we could always say, like say Inverness or whatever it's called, we could also ring up Inverness and get it back.
Thank you.
You mentioned Neighbours. Neighbours was responsible for launching the phenomenal career of Kylie Minogue. Do you feel proud of that?
That marriage probably got the highest ratings of any marriage in Australia. And she went on to great success, and I applaud that. But she said that we couldn't use the tapes because she didn't want us to use them. And we said, no, we own the tapes. And she had to accept it.
I didn't know that there had been a sort of a rift between you and Kylie. I didn't know that there had ever been
between me.
Right.
Because it was like our lawyers versus their lawyers. But I think she felt, as her career grew, that she didn't want to be remembered for being on a soap. You know, I mean, that's understandable, I should think. But it did give her the break, and I think now she acknowledges it.
You've come such a long way from that young man whose first paycheck was, I think, £1 a week.
No, we were made for one another, weren't we?
Yes.
Home since the early 80s for Reg, and Joy Chambers, his wife of more than 30 years, is their sprawling acreage in Bermuda, a tiny tropical island in the middle of the Atlantic.
What brought you here?
I wanted to get into America, and I thought UK would be pretty good, and I didn't mind the idea of making shows in Europe. So here, I could fly to New York, 7 o'clock flight up, 7 p.m. flight back. And I was in New York and back here in the same day.
They would. Are you eccentric?
Probably. What is an eccentric person?
Someone with strange foibles and... No, you're not an eccentric, really. I don't think you're an eccentric. But he's eccentric about not carrying money, yes, in that perception. He does not carry money, hasn't carried money for over probably 30 years.
Joy had auditioned for I've Got a Secret, one of Reg's shows in Brisbane.
When did the sparks start to fly between you two?
I had a policy. I mean, I liked women, but I had a policy that I would never take out a female from any of our shows. I thought that was complicated. So then she was on the show, and I was the line producer. I was making the shows. And I was pretty strict with the panel. And I started to feel, gee, she's lovely. And I said to her at the last rehearsal, would you consider having dinner with me? She said, I'd love to.
How long before you knew that this was it?
Oh. I asked you and you said no, and then you asked me and I said no because you'd said no.
That's right.
And then we thought, this is silly. Maybe we should get married.
And we did.
Did Joy, marrying the boss has its advantages, but people can be quite unkind, I think, in those situations, can't they? But how did you cope with that?
I auditioned for the roles. I also was always on time. I knew all my lines, so I was like half an hour early for every call. And I must say that in all the shows that I was in Neighbours or Young Doctors or Restless Years or any of them,
everybody just treated me the same way.
You're a beautiful and intelligent young woman. There are dozens of men who'd pay well just for your company.
She was the boss's wife.
Take the card.
So she couldn't be going for second takes or something, so she had to know her lines, and she always did.
This is a new way of life for me, and I'm very happy with where I am.
To watch more of Ryan's success story and to discover an approach to healthy eating and weight loss that's better for you, visit lightandeasy.com.au today.